Well, howdy do. This is D.W. Pastor Barry coming at you this afternoon from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Feeling kind of scruffy here. Need a shave. Hope you guys are doing well. I thought I would continue here today with Andrew Murray's God's Best Secrets Devotional. We're going to be reading in 2 Chronicles, a place where I don't often read. And we're going to be reading about King Asa. And I found it interesting that the governor here in Arkansas, his name is Asa Hutchinson. And I'm pretty sure that since he's a Christian, he was named after this king. This devotional here today is entitled, A Perfect Heart. Can you and I have a perfect heart? What does it mean to have a perfect heart? Can we have a heart after God's own heart? Yes, because King David had that. So listen carefully, if having a heart after God's own heart means that it's perfect, then yes, you and I can have a perfect heart. Doesn't mean we don't sin. I'm not talking about sin. But having a heart that longs for God, that loves God, that seeks God, obeys Him, if that's what it means to have a perfect heart, then yes, there are Christians walking the earth right now who have perfect hearts. Just saying. Go to 2 Chronicles chapter 16. We're going to read the entire thing, and then we'll take a look at this short devotional here this afternoon. I hope you guys are doing well. I want to give some shouts out to Brother Benjamin and little Buddy, his kitty cat. Hope the kitty cat's doing well. And Brother Grayson, his sidekick. I was going to say something, but I had to bite my tongue there. Brother Carlos in Arizona, the Crossfire Warriors, Six Pack, and all the sisters watching, Sister Opal, Tabitha, Kathleen, Sister Jolene, Sister Joyce and her coffee, and Sister Elizabeth Price over on the East Coast. God bless. Chapter 16, verse 1 of 2 Chronicles says, But in the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, and did not allow anyone to come in or go out to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa removed silver and gold from the storehouses of the house of the Lord and palace of the king, and he sent it to Ben-Hadad, king of Aram in Syria, who lived in Damascus, saying, There is a covenant between me and you, as between my father and your father. I am sending you silver and gold. Go and break your covenant with Baasha, king of Israel, so that he might leave me. And Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa, and he sent the commanders of his armies against the cities of Israel. They struck down Ijon, Dan, Abel, Maim, and all the depot cities of Naphtali. And it happened, when Baasha heard this, that he stopped building Ramah, and he ceased his work. Then King Asa took all of Judah, and they took the stones of Ramah and its timber that Baasha had used to build, and he built with them Geba and Mizpah. I knew when he got into Chronicles there'd be some names I couldn't pronounce, but that's okay. I bet you can't do it either. And at that time, Hanani the seer came to King Asa of Judah, saying, Because you depended on the king of Aram and did not depend on the Lord your God, therefore the army of the king of Aram escaped from your hand. Were not the Cushites and the Libyans a very large army with chariots and horsemen? But when you depended on the Lord, he gave them to your hand. I sense a parable there, a lesson. Rely on the Lord, not on other men. For the eyes of the Lord move about on all the earth to strengthen the heart that is completely toward him. There's the lesson. You have acted foolishly in this, and from this point forward you will have wars. Then Asa was angry with the seer and placed him in prison stocks, for he was enraged by these words. Asa even oppressed some of the people during this time. The events of Asa from beginning to end are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. In the 39th year of the reign of Asa, he had a sickness in his feet until his sickness became grave. Even in his disease, he did not seek after the Lord, but the physicians. So Asa slept with his fathers. He died in the 41st year of his reign, and they buried him in the tomb that he cut for himself in the city of David. And they placed him on a place filled with all types of spices, mixed with ointments, and then they burn him up with a very great conflagration. Ever heard that word before? I was playing one of my favorite board games this year, and I came across that word about fire in one of the cards in the game. I thought it was pretty interesting. So there you go. There's the story of King Asa in a nutshell. I'll bet you haven't read that for a long time, have you? A perfect heart. In verse 9 of 2 Chronicles chapter 16, it said, "For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him." Let's take a look at what Andrew Murray says in this short devotional here this afternoon. He says, "In worldly matters, we know how important it is that work be done with the whole heart. In the spiritual realm, this rule still holds true. God has given the commandment, 'You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your strength.' Deuteronomy 6:5. In Jeremiah, we read, 'You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart.' That's Jeremiah 29:13. It is amazing that earnest Christians who attend to their daily work with all their hearts are so content to take things easy in the service of God. We dedicate so much time, effort, energy into doing our jobs so well, and then when it comes to God and being a Christian, we put so little effort in." He's right. They do not realize that, if in anything, they should give themselves to God's service with all the power of their wills. He's saying it should be the opposite. Give God everything, and then whatever is left, give it to the rest. In the words of 2 Chronicles 16:9, we are given insight into the absolute necessity of seeking God with a perfect heart. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. So I want you to ask yourself, how's your heart condition? The condition between you and the Lord right now on a scale of 1 to 10. How is it? If it's below 10, seek improvement. What an encouragement this should be to us to humbly wait on God with an upright heart. We may be assured that his eye will be upon us and that he will show forth his mighty power in us and in our work. O Christian, have you learned this lesson in your worship of God, yielding yourself each morning, yielding your whole heart to do God's will? Pray each prayer with a perfect heart, in true, wholehearted devotion to him. Then expect, by faith, the power of God to work in you and through you. Remember that in order to come to this, you must begin by being silent before God until you realize that he is indeed working in secret in your heart. And in Psalm 69 and verse 3 it says, "I wait for my God." So while you're waiting, you might as well be still and listen to his voice too. "In the secret place of his tabernacle he shall hide me." Psalm 27 and verse 5. So that's why the Psalms are so important. They're so filled with wisdom, prophecy, encouragement. King David, especially in his Psalms, he vents a lot. A lot of Christians need to vent. You need to vent too. Pour it out before God. Don't keep it in. You'll start to boil over. You'll explode. I'm reminded of what Watchman Nee said about prayer. Praying is like laying railroad tracks out so the train can get there. God is not able to accomplish a lot of things simply because his people aren't praying. The trains of God, so to speak, can't go out to those places until the church prays and lays down the foundations of prayer. Why not lay down a foundation of prayer in your own life? Is your heart perfect before God? It can be. So I encourage you to seek that out. Seek God out with your whole heart. He's waiting for you. He's waiting just to spend time with you. Even if you want to complain. But at least if you turn to God for the answers, go ahead. Pour your heart up to God. He wants to hear your frustrations. He's got big shoulders. Old Papa God can take it. Don't worry. So guys, be encouraged by that. Seek to have a pure heart, a righteous heart, and a perfect heart before God. I'm off. I'm going to take me a shower and a shave. We'll see you guys later.